who are now partners who have really taken the firm into that direction. So nice to meet you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm Alexander Галицький, but на українському це буде звучати Олександр Галицький, да? Actually, I'm Ukrainian born, Ukrainian spirit, Catholic and Orthodox in one family. So by this way, like I'm from here. Actually, I manage venture fund which named Almaz Capital, which is based in Silicon Valley and in Moscow. Next, our office destination Berlin. So we manage after two funds, now second fund. We invest in second fund at the end of stage of investment. And we are managing approximately, I don't know, around almost 40 companies, 7 successful, very successful exits. 25% of our money was related for some technology startups from here or companies, US companies, which working with Ukrainian engineers. So by this way, approximately 25%, I will say, which is a big number in addition to other companies which were American or came from Russia, Czech Republic, Estonia, Latvia, many destinations, Hungary. So, so it is what we are doing. So,
okay, thank you. Vitaly?
Vitaly Golub, born in Odessa, grew up in Silicon Valley, come to Ukraine quite a lot. For the last 16 years, had 3 of my own companies, my own startups, last one with an office in Kiev. Now I lead investments at the corporate venture fund of HP Inc., not to be confused with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, different company now. We just launched in May of this year. We invest in Series A and B, 1 to 5 million. We invest globally. We invest in the third industrial revolution. So 3D printing, IoT, immersive, and smart machines and AI. So I'm a big supporter of Ukraine, obviously, and hope to find lots of good engineering talent that will turn into large businesses very soon.
Thank you, Vitaly. I'm Andrei Koleduk, and besides being the chairman of Ukrainian Venture Capital Private Equity Association, I'm also founder and manager partner of A-Ventures Capital. It's an early stage fund, more than 10 startups, Ukrainian startups already invested. Some of you already know, like PetCube, Augment Pixels, Vox, and many more. And by the way, we have 2 companies.
2 joint deals.
Yeah, 2 joint companies with Almaz Capital.
Vitaly did not join us.
And StartWind, but
not on stage, no comment.
Not on stage, but maybe after this panel, we're actually going to join some of the rounds together. Okay, thank you for introductions. And actually, the first question I have for you, this is what everybody is interested in, is where you want to invest. What is your preferable areas, verticals, where you see the future? What is actually you're looking for to invest, and what kind of startups you're looking for? So we're talking about now segments, industries. You said it's 4.0 industrial revolution, but it means for everyone different things. So let's try to be narrow. Where you want to invest? Alexei?
First of all, we would like to invest into something digital. We would like to invest into the project, software projects that can compete globally. This could be SaaS, software as a service. This could be marketplaces, e-commerce, mobile applications. It could be different stage, early stage, late stage. Yeah, but the main thing is that it should projects should be oriented, should be focused on global markets.
Okay.
Okay, so because we have the 2 vehicles, we have the 2 buckets. I'll start with Horizon, then I'll talk about Western and NAS. With Horizon Capital, we do later stage. So we have over 600 million under management. The latest fund we're investing is a 150 million fund. And we're looking at 5 to 20 million pieces. We will do smaller than 5 million for first tranches if we see that there's going to be additional tranches of financing required. We're interested in IT, we're interested in export-oriented light manufacturing, we're interested in food and agro, That's the focus of Horizon Capital, really export-oriented. And what we're looking for, first and foremost, is to back visionary entrepreneurs. So whether it's Rozetka, we backed Rozetka as a market leader. We backed Jubal. We backed Tinkoff Bank in Russia. We look first and foremost at the entrepreneur, at the spark in the eye, backing that visionary entrepreneur. Now, moving to the second part is Western NAS. And Western NAS, really, that is, it's a US government-backed fund. It's a fund that was our first fund that we managed in Ukraine from 1994 through 2013 and still to this day. And that fund has taken part of the money made, $35 million, and is putting it into technical assistance. On top of that, and that includes quite a few interesting projects that are related to the ecosystem. On top of that, we have just launched a $5 million early stage VC financing. And in that space, what we're looking at is really, we're looking to invest alongside qualified investors. We're looking to invest alongside people on this panel, people who are part of the Ukrainian Venture Capital and Private Equity Association. It's important for us to back industry associations, and we're looking to invest up to 500,000 pieces.
So basically, you don't have any preferable type of verticals, but rather to have lead investors that understand some particular niches or verticals, correct?
That's right. That's right. So for that, what that $5 million was about was actually to go to the Ukrainian government, to go to the prime minister, to go to the president, to go to the executive branch and say, look, Western NAS as a US government fund is ready to put $5 million into early stage venture. You as a government should do the same. And I believe Andriy will talk about this because we've been doing this together and with other members of UVCA. But what we want to do is use that and start to leverage and create this fund of funds that is 50, 100 million, because that's truly what the industry needs. Anyways, we can get into a big discussion about that, but essentially for us, we're looking to partner with that 5 million, we're looking to partner with qualified investors.
Okay.
Okay,
Sasha?
so I start immediately that I don't like government money. Yeah, so I don't like prosecutors knocking doors of my startups, making difficult time for them. So from perspective of what we are doing, we actually managing, we invest in from seed to B series. Since we tried a few times to do a seed program, and one time that it happened, a company venture fund, Runa Capital, which became from this activity. So we tried to do differently with seed, and finally we decided that if you like company, it doesn't matter seed or not, we just go in and help company to grow. So our ticket is we actually reserve for each company $15 million, trying to stay that company will require in life cycle this money. We're not investing in e-commerce since we require a lot of capital, and we more like technological companies. In first fund, we was a generalist. We like what we like, we invest what we want. Since we needed to prove as soon as possible that we can do our job. And when we prove it, we became more selective. Second fund was more focused on cloud computing and all stuff which is making wave of changing of this industry. 3 IoT deals, from which one we make recently very nice exit. So, and rest of them we are managing, but we are happy since we almost return all money of investment from one deal. And speaking about future, we are looking mostly for waves. We decided that we need to build big story. And big story will come from, my opinion, 4 directions. One direction is collaborative economy. Second direction is artificial intelligence. Third direction is blockchain, or stuff around blockchain. And one more is fintech, which is possibly also built on blockchain, but blockchain is more wider than fintech. So 4 directions which can change many stuff, how business models working in many places. It is where we are targeting to look to our startups right now.
Just want to have a question to the audience. Who has a startups or big companies in these 4 directions? Please raise your hand. Okay. Many more? Oh, I count 6. Okay, so that means that, okay, yeah, more. So that means that blockchain, collaborative economy, clean tech, it's something that could be interested because we have investors that already believe this is the future and eager to help you to build that future. Okay, thank you.
So I already told you that we invest in third industrial revolution. I'll try to tell you why. So venture capital, early stage venture capital is about seeing the future. Where is the industry going? Technology is developing so fast that our world is going to change very quickly in the next 5 to 10 years. So we've chosen to go after those directions. Another thing is that on the left side here, we have 3 institutional funds who invest for financial returns only. We are a corporate fund. So HP makes about $1 billion a week. So for us to make a big difference financially to a company of this size, we have to invest a lot of money and find a lot of unicorns. So instead, corporate funds are more focused on the strategic help towards the direction that the company's already chosen to go. So the categories that we're investing in, we've chosen, these are either categories that we're looking to build products in the future, categories that we want to expand our market share in of existing products, or expand the whole market where we already lead. So for example, in computing and PCs, we have 25% of the world's Windows market, right? So we're a leader there. In printing, we are by far a leader in consumer and commercial. Both are declining, secular declining businesses. That means that they will never be as big as they were yesterday, right? So we're already in the 3D printing business, and I'll tell you more about it tomorrow morning. But essentially, the company has chosen this new direction. And HP is a 76-year-old company that has changed itself several times over its course. Right? It started with audio instruments. So scientific instruments went into calculators, went into the computer business thanks to Tom Perkins, who later started Kleiner Perkins, the famous VC firm. Later got into printing, in part thanks to Apple as well. And now it's another transformation period. So we just launched this fund. I think it's for the 4th time. A friend of mine said it's maybe HP's 8th time launching a venture arm. But now the idea is that, what's coming next for the company? So we're looking at these categories. We're looking to partner with startups, with some of the best brains out there, and it's worldwide, and especially in the categories that we're working in, which are heavily dependent on core science, on hardware engineering. So we're very positive on Eastern Europe, on Southern Asia as well, Southeast Asia, where this talent exists and where a lot of this technology is going to come from. It's no longer just about Silicon Valley. So that's how we look at it. We invest at Series A with large institutional investors side by side. We invest 1 to 5 million. So that means that the companies have to be ready to raise $5 to $25 million rounds. That means you don't just want to raise that much money, but your company is ready to take that much money and put it to good use. So that's the categories.
Thank you. And I hope in this audience we have companies in 3D printing, IoT, and virtual reality, correct?
Don't be shy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we have some people, some volunteers. Okay, thank you. And on behalf of Ventures Capital, we are usually first investing in the company, investing an average $500,000, but with the idea to do follow-ons, meaning investing a few more times. And we've done many verticals: augmented reality, IoT, SaaS business, B2B, B2C as well. When we step in is actually to help you to scale your business, which obviously have to be going global, right? To help you to scale your sales, to set up sales offices in the US, and this is our goal. And also to help you to raise next capital, which is a very hard job for those who tried it, to actually find other investors. That's why Ventures Capital love to syndicate with other VC investors, find other people who actually will help us to build the company together with you. Okay, coming to the next question, because probably many of you think that investors have a fancy life, right? But I can tell you from inside that investors have a hard job to do. You know why? Because even on the example of the ventures, we have talked to 2,000 startups and invested in 10. So that means that 99% of our job to say no to you. You know how hard it is to say no to you? Believe me, it's a hard job. But my question to the panel, what is the three top reasons for you to say yes and invest in the startup? What is the 3 things?
First thing probably is potential. The first question that we are asking themselves, how big can the startup be? And what is the potential of this project? And how many X can be received in the future? This is the first question. Second question.
X, just to clarify, X means in our business how many multiple on the investment capital. Okay?
Yeah.
1 million X something.
Yeah.
Hopefully 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the second question, is team. The most important people is the most important asset in every startup, and we closely review the team and founders of the startup. And the third question, question.
What make you say yes? So how you make a decision? Emotional?
No, not emotional.
What is the trigger? What is the trigger for you?
Probably that's about marketing, about market, about something. Is that project have something unique? Is that project has something really outstanding? Can it become a leader in its field?
Okay, unique niche and ability to become an outstanding leader in that niche.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say shortly, it is, yes, it is opportunity.
Opportunity?
Yeah, it is people. It is technology protection, since you look through competition. So, and it is important, the technology uniqueness, I will say, in competition. So it is 4 major stuff which you're looking to say yes and no at the same time. No, of course, it is many, many other reasons.
Okay, thank you. Lena?
I would say there's one, and we look at spark in the eye. That's what we start off with. We look at the spark in the eye, and that really matters. And I know that may sound, for all of us investors, it's an art and a science. And you do have that intuition, and you do have that art aspect, and you do the science. You crunch the numbers, you look at all the market and the opportunities and the financials. But at the end of the day, every idea comes from a person. And we want to meet that person. We want to look into their eyes. We want to understand what is driving them. We want to understand what their vision is for the company. We want to understand how did they recruit the people around them? How do they treat how do they treat their R&D team? How do they treat their assistant? I mean, we want to see how they treat people, because ultimately that matters. That's going to reflect how they're going to treat their investor, how they're going to treat us. Everything starts with a relationship. So we look at that spark in the eye, we look for the passion, we look for the energy, because this is a long slog for many companies. You have to have that energy to do it. And it's a relationship. For us, it's a relationship. It is a long-term relationship. Example, e-commerce, the founder of Rozetka, that's a 3-year relationship that we built before we made the investment, before he wanted our investment. So for us, it really is that relationship. We understand that there are going to be good times, there are going to be bad times. If you don't have that relationship that has been built over time, then you may not be able to weather those difficult times. Of course, it's alignment for us also. As you correctly mentioned, we are institutional investors, so we have to be aligned on the exit. We have to be aligned on the vision. We have to be aligned on the strategies, the execution. All of that is important to us.
Yeah. Sasha have number 4, right?
No, I don't have number 4. I don't look on the spark on the eyes. It is nice in dating. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So,
he doesn't like anything I say. Government money, spark in the eye, that's okay.
What's the point? For me, it came to mind, exists very great entrepreneur, Baronov, the partner of Ratmir Timashev. And Baronov, when I look on his eyes, he sometimes smokes a lot. Yeah, I mean,
Cigarettes,
Yeah.
I understand.
And one day I entered 100 million in 3 years after this. So by this way, you need to learn people to understand what behind of their eyes do. And you need to spend time. It is why Andrei told we spend so much time speaking to people and try to meet and to find them.
Right, right. Okay, Vitaly, what is your...
So there's nothing more boring than a panel where everybody says, oh, I agree with the next person. So we're here to entertain, right? Are you entertained? It's after lunch, you're a little sleepy. Okay, so I'll tell you, our list is not, you know, one or two things. It pretty much has to meet all the criteria. And it really starts with the team, and specifically in leadership skills. Right? If you're an early stage company, by the time we see you, it's a small team, 5, 10, 20 people. But how are you going to grow to thousands? And how are you as the founder going to lead those people? Are you sure in yourself? Are you sure in your vision? Are you able to communicate it? Are you able to infect people with your vision? If you can get somebody to see your vision, it's a vision. If you can't, it's a hallucination. Right? Keep that in mind. So the team and leadership. The other part of the team is that the team has to have experience and some special knowledge about the business that they're in. They need to be smarter than the other smart people solving the same problem. Okay? So that's about team. The market. It's not enough that it's a big market. Everybody gets confused and thinks, oh, it's a huge multi-billion-dollar market. The much more important part is the speed of growth of that market. You're building for 2 years from now, 5 years from now. If you get into a $1 trillion market that's shrinking 5% a year, that means that every customer you get, you have to take away from somebody else, from a more established company with a better name, with more money, with an established sales process. If you get into a market, for example, 3D printing, that's growing 100% per year, you just have to be a player, and you have to be okay at business, and you're going to grow 100% per year. So this is why venture capital generally works in waves. It follows trends, because that's when you build the really big companies on that wave that goes up. Okay? That's very important. Capital efficiency is very important. Right? So that's number 3.
Okay. That's
Right.
it. Only 3.
Only 3? Well, the fourth one, bonus one for us, and for any corporate investor, if you're going to talk to corporate funds, you need to understand that inside they're fighting a battle and they're trying to get the deal approved. So for us, I'll give you an example. To get a deal approved, we have an investment committee, which consists of the chief operating officer, chief financial officer, and chief technology officer, who we report to, of HP, of the whole $55 billion a year company. And we have to get the president of one of the business units to say, yes, I want to invest in this company and it's going to give us benefits. So you have to understand what the strategic fit for your business is with the large company.
Wow. Okay. Well, I have to tell on the Behavior Ventures, our decision process is very simple. It's me and Genesis, so that's it. Okay.
You're lucky.
Yeah. If you like it, we say, okay, no problem. Money is in track.
We ask for guys to take decisions.
You see. Yeah, but
I will tell you more about corporates later.
Later, okay. I'm not going to repeat my colleagues on how the Ventures say yes, but I have for you some tasks to do. Just encourage you to talk to companies we already invested. They are all listed on our website, aventurescapital.com. Sorry, but there you need to talk to the people that we already invested. Meaning, we are doing due diligence on you. You should do due diligence on investors, and the best way to do it is actually talk to the companies that we already invested. Why? What was actually the trigger for us to invest? They're going to tell you the truth, not what you just heard, but portfolio company going to tell you the truth why you invested in them. All right, I have just a quick question, but speaking of your mandate and your focus, should startup be based in US or it should be in Ukraine? Can you invest in startups that only based in Ukraine? That's a tricky one. Just yes or no?
Yes.
Could be in Ukraine only? Yes. Okay, so there is no requirement to be in US? Okay,
Yes.
cool. Okay, Sasha?
Can be based here, but registered somewhere else.
Okay. Vitaly?
No problem. Doesn't matter where they are.
Okay, the same. Doesn't matter, no problem. Okay, I often hear something, especially from the journalists, there are so many barriers for foreign investors to invest in Ukraine, and this is the reason why they're not invested. But on the other hand, we made the research, and we counted last year 66 deals, and half of the capital come from the foreign investors. So what is the truth? Is there any barriers for foreign investors actually invest in Ukrainian startups? What do you think?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what barriers and how we can fix it.
So getting into any, coming from Silicon Valley, so I grew up in Silicon Valley, it's home for me. And it's the epicenter of venture capital. 80% of venture capital comes from Silicon Valley. And is invested more and more in companies. It's getting actually more concentrated in Silicon Valley. For an investor to be motivated to go out of their comfort zone, go to a different side of the world, to a culture they may not understand, to a business environment that they may not understand how to work in, and have no network in, it's very difficult. They have to have some extra motivation. So what's that motivation? Right? They have to be opportunistic. It could be some natural resource they're going after. So, for example, Israel was able to create this effect with a lot of government help and a lot of backing of venture funds. So it was financially very interesting to invest in Israel. And there's a base of engineering, there's a base of a lot of things, and good business people as well. Singapore did the same thing. They did a lot of backing of funds, and this is how they created a magnet to bring venture capitalists to help build the ecosystem there. Ukraine, there are attempts, and I see a huge improvement even in the last year in the country, but it's not there yet where there's no big, strong magnet. I can't tell a friend of mine on Sand Hill Road, hey, you should go take a trip to Ukraine to invest in companies. I always do say that, and the advertisement I give them is that some of the best engineering brains in the world, but there's a lot missing still. So it's hard to motivate people.
What is the missing, main things?
Experience. So business sales and marketing experience is very much missing in most places in the world. So Silicon Valley is unique, not in necessarily just having a lot of capital, but in multiple generations of experienced entrepreneurs, and currently about 50,000 director-level managers that have built technology companies from nothing to exit. That experience takes a very long time to build up. It just doesn't exist. As soon as the Ukrainian companies that go to Silicon Valley, that get success, sell, or go public, and those entrepreneurs are motivated to come back and help the next generation, mentor and help build these companies and angel invest in these companies, that's how it's going to get started.
Okay, good.
No, I will add the following, that as I did many times in many places, this example that actually 25% of resources spent for idea, prototype, and technology, and the rest of them sales and marketing, 75%. So to turn prototype to the product and product to a real company. So from this perspective, this experience is missing, it is for sure. And the second one is missing, it is what understanding was a problem actually people try to solve in technological world. In Silicon Valley, you are going for a few places and you can sit like this and listen about any problems people discuss, business ideas, technological problem in some company, and it is like booming, 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 and you are getting some kind of idea and you're in kitchen of something. So can be it is replicated? I believe more in global venture capitalism right now. The reason is very simple, that idea can be born in any place today with the information which we are getting through internet. And for me today, when I'm speaking with my Californian-based VCs who like Silicon Valley VC, I remind, for me, joke about tree and banana and the ability to move, why I need to do so if bananas coming to me each day. So since I have too many startups each day, yeah, so, and we need to go and like in gold mining trying to find something. So it is a little bit different job. But what is stopping one more, it is openness, yes, the openness of economy itself. We have this experience, and Andrei know, in few companies, in one different experience with Ukrainian actually company, when we hired top guy to manage company from very, very great position in a very productive company for very interesting Ukrainian company. But he came, he left job, he signed contract, he got computer, he came to work with this company, and finally took with him financial guy and went through books. So when he went through books, he found some funny business, since the guys pay by cash for Land Rover. They needed to generate cash somehow. And what happened with American mentality? He took airplane back to California, dropped computer, sent it back to company, and told, guy, goodbye, I'm going for 6 months vacation. The reason is very simple, since he afraid the skeleton which can sit in this company. So before you are going to raise capital from venture capitalists, you need to clean your company. Clean your books, making them open, no funny sales of something to get cash to pay landlord or, I don't know, fire department officer. So it is what needs to be done.
GAAP. Learn GAAP. Generally accepted accounting practices.
Okay. Before you make sales or after?
Immediately. So build your company. I mean, the advice is always build your company from day one as if you're going to sell it any day. This is how you run a clean company. It's very important.
Clear.
So talking about barriers, I would like to say that it depends on how to look at the situation from what perspective. If we take a look from optimistic perspective, there are so many opportunities right now here in Ukraine, so many projects, they are undervalued, and investors that are afraid of, for instance, political risks, of economic risk, are just losing these opportunities. And yeah, so, and of course, and if there are many problems in Ukraine right now. Yes, the war is in Donbass, the economic situation is not good, the market, there is the absence of market, and these are barriers, but at the same time, there are a lot of opportunities.
Okay, Lena?
I'm an optimist, so I'm an optimist. You can tell exactly. I'm an optimist. You know, we're based here, and our entire team is here. This is our market. There's over 20 investment professionals. This is what we do here. So people can accuse us sometimes of drinking the Kool-Aid, that we believe in the country and we're very strong advocates for it. We see right now as ground floor opportunity, we believe that the country is truly poised for economic growth. We can understand that for foreign investors, most of the time it's even just getting Ukraine on the radar screen. In their mind, it's all about perception. We live in a world where you've got sound bites where people just want to tag, whether it's a company or an individual or a country, very quickly in one sentence. And I'm not going to name what people think about Ukraine, but a few of the words are not great in terms of war, or in terms of Chernobyl or other things that may stop them from even giving Ukraine a chance. I mean, last week I was in New York. We all spend a lot of time traveling, and I was in the offices of a hedge fund manager who manages over $200 billion. And his first words to me was, why should I even think about Ukraine? Why? Right? And that's I think that perception issue is something that all of us have to work towards. And frankly speaking, I think it's people like all of you in the room and people of the young generation, the progressive generation, people who are backing and founding IT companies, tech companies, truly driving, I think, the future economic growth of Ukraine. That matters, and that will change ultimately the perception and get more foreign investors into the country.
Thank you. Well, in my mind, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to add something real quick. Horizons put out a great presentation about Ukraine, and they are very big believers in the country, and I've showed it to numerous people to introduce the opportunity in Ukraine. Agro-business and all the IT as well. Huge opportunity, huge ground floor opportunity, and for those investors that are looking for something new and not just to fight out for the latest, greatest Y Combinator company, it's huge. But again, the motivation, it's right now at this stage, it's more of a cultural connection. Yeah. So I don't have to be here. I can just sit there in Palo Alto and the weather is nice. But I choose to come here and invest time because I want to create that bridge to Silicon Valley. And gradually over time, with enough people doing that, there's going to be more activity and the ecosystem will be stronger.
Okay, thank you.
And Andrei,
sure.
and just to add to that though, you know, I think all of us, all the investors, and of course we want to earn a return, and that's why we're investing. We want to earn a return. We have investors behind us, or you might have, you know, principal-led. At the end of the day, people want to earn a return. But also, right now in Ukraine, all of us have to devote our time, and we do. We devote a segment of our time to building the ecosystem in whatever way. Whether it was all that, like you said, the range of videos, whether it's backing technology that's transforming the government. We've backed Prozoro, we've backed 1991 Open Data Incubator. We're backing a lot of different initiatives. That's important because we can see that we aren't going to wait for the government, as you mentioned. I'm Canadian, I've been here for 23 years. You know, Canada announced $1 billion for innovation, the US $2 billion. We won't talk about the announcements or lack thereof that we're hearing here. So I think all of us have that responsibility for people who care about IT and the next generation and ensuring that we've got an ecosystem that will help to create a robust platform for startups. We all have to devote, if we have only 24 hours in a day and we sleep for, I don't know how many hours you guys sleep, I sleep for 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours maximum, then I've got to make sure that I'm spending a few hours every day to move the ecosystem forward.
Great. So as everyone, yeah. Well, in my mind, the biggest barrier is a perception, okay? The perception of Ukraine, the perception of what's going on. And when you just share one single fact that in Ukraine we have every week new deal closed, sometimes even 2 times, it's already a shock for many people. So we need to spread the word, talk about it. And number 2 is the Israel experience that we should learn from, because this is a guys also in a very tough position, but they've been able to actually work with the perception. So the perception is barrier, but also there are many instruments to actually overcome this barrier, and that is to change the perception in any way we can. We can use anyone in the world to talk about good things, what's going on here, to change that perception day by day, day by day. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay, we have a time for questions, actually. Who wants to ask the first question? Raise the hand. And where is the microphones coming up? Okay, who wants to ask the question? Okay, cool. So I ask the question. It usually takes 10 seconds for you just to come up with something. I know it was very unexpected for you. My very quick question for you is the following, because many of you spend time in Silicon Valley. The question is, what is the difference between Silicon Valley ecosystem and Ukrainian IT ecosystem? By the way, the only country in the world that have built it themselves. I mean, with no government support. There is no any other IT and VC ecosystem in the world that never used any government support. It's only Ukrainian one, for you just to know. People don't know this fact, but is it true? So what is the difference between our ecosystem and what we should learn from the Silicon Valley ecosystem to actually empower Ukrainian one? Vitaly, I'll start with you, because you're a veteran. And
so the differences are quite large.
Nice
okay.
weather, always, yes.
So, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please be in short.
So, as far as scale, there are about 7.5 million people that live in Bay Area. That's a little bit bigger than Greater Kiev. 25% are directly employed in technology. A quarter of the entire population. And the other half are people, at least half are servicing those companies, etc. So it's really difficult to compare because it's an entire area since the 1950s that's pretty much dedicated to innovation and technology. To give you more specific things, because that's incomparable, the Silicon Valley capital is a lot more patient. What does that mean? That means that investments are made into companies that will not produce revenue or grow very quickly for some time. It's a gamble, and you're gambling, investing in technology that will be a breakthrough, and when it becomes a breakthrough, it'll be a company that becomes very big very quickly and go public or sell for a lot of money. That's the game. When you're talking about Ukraine or any other second, third tier market, there are a lot of local opportunities for you to create a company and become print from there. But if you spend too long sitting there and just adding features to a product for years and without a single customer, you're not going to do anything good. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice. And that comes from probably the last 5 or 6 years, maybe 8 years of development, and really this agile approach to building products. Don't assume that you know what your customer needs. Experiment and test, and get those customers. Get out of the building, get those customers with the first few features, be embarrassed of your product. Don't sit there and build something for 2 years without trying to talk to customers first. That's probably the most practical thing I can give you.
Good one, thank you.
No, I will make corrections that Silicon Valley not happened because of private money. It has happened, of course, because of government money. Since if you take 1970, it is where the big boom started actually in investments there. Private investment was $100 million in comparison to $4 billion from government in different stuff. And in 2009, it was a little bit different story. It was always $30 billion a year investment from private business, and from government still around $4 billion. So it is where exists this movement in any place. Since ideas that to build actually disruptive technology, it is require a lot of support of regulation as well. And each country need to find the way to go. It is my opinion. In modern world, since I'm thinking more globally, and nobody will repeat anymore Silicon Valley ecosystem, and it is not required anymore in many places. Since we're more connected, we are here, we can fly, we can move, only political borders exist. So from this perspective, you need to find your way to go. And when you're speaking about disruption, why it is happening in the US, it is the government make many disruptive decisions about internet, about many other stuff. If you're speaking today, I make example of Malta, for example. Who knows Malta? Malta is 500,000 people living. So what is special about Malta? It is very stable and very financially great country. So what's the point? Why they are so financially unstable? It is not tourism as people thinking. So it is the same time type of modern IT industry. What's the IT industry? Gambling. Since Malta made decision that it is legal to start gambling startup companies which serve all Europe and part of the world to make gambling software and different stuff around the world. I not think that Ukraine it is the way to go. But the point is, when you would like to make disruption, so you need to make laws which support technology. You know that autonomous drive cars is illegal in Europe. You know this? It is impossible to build technology in Europe. It is why Mercedes and others building this in the United States. Since in Europe, legally, you cannot drive car without drivers. So it is exists law, which all European countries need to agree to change. How long it will take? So by this way, country need to find their way to go and find the way for future. It is my point about, it is a little bit not about Silicon Valley, but to move Silicon Valley spirit in some country.
Oh, and by the way, it's a good opportunity for Ukraine. We do have a law against the self-driving cars. Welcome to Ukraine. Okay, next. Not yet, at least.
Look, we could be in any country, any place other than Silicon Valley, asking that question, because whether we're in Canada, you know, whether when I was in Australia and you're speaking to people within the IT community, of course, I mean, Silicon Valley, that's like Everest. It's the pinnacle, and there's only one Everest. And Silicon Valley is that special combination of all of the things that you've described, and everyone who's been there knows exactly what we're talking about. So it is Everest. And wherever we are, whether Canada, Australia, everyone asks themselves that question: can I build the most viable company? Can I create a unicorn here in Canada or here in Australia? Or should I go to Silicon Valley? I mean, that's the question that everybody asks themselves. And my only comment on that is that just as I would never climb Everest by myself, if I really wanted to climb Everest, I would go with a guide who knows what they're doing. And I think that's also a message that you know, buying a ticket, showing up and, and saying, okay, now I'm gonna do this. I mean, I think it's extremely important to build that network relationships, to have relationships in Silicon Valley to across the board. So that's my comment about Silicon Valley.
Any more?
I would agree with my colleagues that we should go our own way, and I think that Ukraine cannot be compared with Silicon Valley. We should probably take a deeper look at Israel's success, and since we have so many talented developers and we should create our own projects, our own startup ecosystem, and yeah, we should go our way.
Okay, let's go our own way.
Andrei, one thing about, you know, when I was at Startup Nation Central in Jerusalem, it was a surprise to me to learn that 2 million engineers, I mean, Startup Nation, everyone thinks it's Israel. 2 million Russians, Ukrainians who really formed a backbone of Startup Nation.
That's
Israel.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we can't ever forget that and they accredit it themselves. They say the roots.
On some back, yeah?
Yeah, Ukraine is welcome for any immigrants from the world, from Israel, America, after the Trump wins.
No, can I say?
Come here.
Andrei, I will say
Sure.
differently about Israel. It is a good example, but Ukraine has over 40 million population. It is a completely different story. You can build the same as in Israel, but you need to think you are bigger than Poland. And Poland a success building startups actually for local market with their stock exchange and everything can be very good example for Ukraine to go, especially it is coming from the same roots in some same conditions, same climate zone, I will say, the same agriculture story in the behind of the countries. So it is where you also need to get some idea and learning. 38 million people, here much more people, I think.
Yeah, but I heard the fact, actually, the Techstars calculated that in Kyiv there are more VC firms than in Warsaw, Vienna, Oslo, and Copenhagen altogether. This is a fact I've heard.
Capital invested is the big question, though.
I know. We have a time for one more last question. Go ahead.
I hope it makes sense. Okay, so my name is Sasha, and I wanted to ask about relations, because this is something very important that is building relations between a startup and investors, and maintaining those relations, because for instance, some of founders may reach out to you today, but this sparkle, this chemistry that exists between founder and investor, it might fade away with the time. So how to maintain that right?
Okay, how maintain the relationship with a startup? Quick ones, please, because we have one more question and the last one.
Write regular follow-ups.
Okay, cool. Any other suggestions? Yeah? Quick ones? We're gonna do the now. Quick one.
Continuous meetings, being honest when things go wrong, transparency, and you know, investing that time into it.
Anyone
Actually,
else?
everything done, but it is update, and nicely update. So it is what need to be, and that's all. No, everything what you can. No, email it is too tiring, I will say, since you need to answer on them.
Okay.
So if you're venture capital, especially early stage, is a relationship business, and the first filter on taking it, and even taking a meeting, is where that came from. So if a VC, another VC sends over a connection, then I'll usually take the meeting. Otherwise, one of the 100 messages on LinkedIn a day or Facebook doesn't usually work, because you're investing in the team and the people first of all, and you need to get to know them. Once you have the relationship, once you met somebody, if your question is how to raise money, and these are VCs that you met but you don't have a business relationship with, it's all about creating momentum, right? And it's a small industry, we all talk, and we'll notice when the company has momentum and is talking to a lot of people. Different, very long answer, but raising money is like enterprise sales. You have to make a plan and a list and go after it. But when you communicate in very short, succinct messages, whatever form you choose, because we get a lot of mail. And if you get a copy-paste, 2 pages of text on LinkedIn, that's not going to get read. If it's 3 sentences and they're the right sentences, asking for something very specific, that's the way to do it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but very important. You need to know we just service. We serve entrepreneurs. It is first. You are king. The second one you need to know, you need to pick up venture capitalists which you want. It is more important, since you need to find the spirit which is close to you, which understand they are doing what you understand, and not just investors. Since other in case, you will be killed.
I have a very practical suggestion. Come to UVCA events, okay, and always be selling, okay, to our investors base. That's how you get funded.
Always be closing.
Always be closing, always be selling. Okay, last question because we have only 1 minute left.
Thank
Quick
you.
one.
My name is Victoria. I'm from Ukrainian media RBC UA. I'm writing about tech. So my question is concerning to your business, because we are now talking about startups in general. But maybe you have any big deals to be announced now. Maybe you're gonna to invest,
okay,
make
deals.
some big investments to Ukrainian startups.
So
I know you will. Maybe
okay.
you will announce.
Let me rephrase. Are you planning soon close the deal, or maybe closed and announced? Or maybe now you have an opportunity, by the way.
This is your answer. We are planning to close deals.
Okay. All right, so you have an opportunity to announce anything, okay? Just anyone?
Press is used strategically when our startups need customers, or to use that press somehow. To pre-announce something or to announce we're planning to future tense. If it doesn't happen, you're going to look pretty stupid.
We like to announce exits.
Okay. So, by the way, any exit soon? Okay, that was.
We just did. We just did. We just did.
All right.
You need to relax. Yes. So.
Okay. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we don't have a time for the more question, but I just want to resume with 3 more sentences for you to remember, because I see new people coming in this audience. 3 things to remember. Number 1. We, UVCA, have 41 members that invest in every week to Ukrainian startups in you. This is fact number 1. Number 2, we had not only these 4 members of our associations, they have more than $1 billion to invest in you, but we have many more. And number 3, go to Facebook, like UVCA page, and come to UVCA events, and to see more investors, and come to Olga Afanasieva if you need to help with investors. The money are here, this is more importantly. And secondly, what is more importantly, we are your partners to build global companies out of Ukraine, both outsourcing, product, whatever. It's a one IT company with Ukrainian origination. So we invest in you. Slava Ukraini! Дякую, дякую.